So welcome to webinar 4, and this will bring us on to step 4, which, as you can see the title there, the modular summative observation consultation. So a little bit similar to how you will have done at level 2, you will need to conduct a consultation with the real life client you have selected. So if you just have a look at a couple of the criteria there, during the course your assessor will observe you conducting a consultation with your client. You may be assessed on one or more occasion. So what we're expecting you to do is record yourself in a very sort of quiet, safe, secure environment with your real life client to fundamentally gather a lot of information, start to build a story of who you are working with. If you are choosing, or if you're doing the same client you had at level 2, you will still need to repeat this because we're going to go into a little bit more detail since it is part of the level 3. So prior to the assessment, you must prepare the environment and resources required. And again, during the consultation there, it gives you a list of everything that we are looking for. There is also underneath a criteria of when you send us this video of yourself and your client just in a safe and secure room, everything we will be looking for you guys to collect and all the conversations you will be having. So having a quick look through the consultation there, have you introduced yourself to the client? Have you used effective communication? Was there lots of back and flow conversation, or was it just you as a PT sort of asking them all? We want a lot of open-ended questions. And you can see the criteria for the video assessment there, similar to you did at level 2. Now that looks like an awful lot of criteria. However, if you just have a quick look here, you must include a copy of the consultation records within your portfolio. So what we've actually got as the additional handout, which your tutor will have sent you, or they will be sending you, is an actual handout, which is stage 1 on the portfolio here. So you've got your client analysis and you've got your client interview template. So obviously you can use this webinar as a bit of an assistance, but also do not forget you've got your level 3 manual, so how to communicate to encourage positive health and fitness behaviors. Your manual will have a lot of consultation information in there. So if we just have a quick look, I'll go through a quick example. And if you're sort of ticking off these particular fitness assessments here and you're gathering all this data, you will hit that criteria wonderfully. And I said, we're looking for a sort of 20 to 30 minute clip of you having a sort of in-depth consultation with your client. So example there, name of your client, obviously make sure we get that in there. So again, really simply, could have your job logs in there. What's the date of the birth? Could be something simple as, popping that in there. Gender, male, really simple. Then you'll get some generic physical assessments in there. So the client may already have a rough idea of the height, the weight, and you can record your BMI from there. You can get some very simple metrics down. Other assessments, you might need to conduct them at another time because it might not be applicable for you to do any other assessments in this consultation. So for example, if your client was wanting to improve their strength and you was to, going to have to get an underpinning knowledge of where they currently are, so some rep max testing, you might need to do that on a gym floor another time. We're not expected to see that on a video. However, if somebody was wanting to lose weight and you was going to think about doing some hip and weight circumference measurements, you could get a waist measurement in there and you could get a hip measurement in there as an example. So think about some of the assessments you may be able to conduct on the interview, on the consultation, and some you may have to do on the gym floor at another time. But make sure these other assessments are specific to clients' goals. Okay, it's going to help us. Is it going to help you test and retest if the client is making progress? Okay. Now, as you can see, there's some very, very simple boxes that you need to fill in here. Does the client have any current barriers? At no point in this should we see NA in there because there are always some form of barriers, whether they're actual or perceived. So work commitment could be one, family commitments, boredom, motivation levels, Could be a particular time of day they couldn't train. And again, this is all going to be very dependent on how your client responds to you. I just wanted to give you a quick idea of what is expected. Client motivator, so what motivates your client, okay? Strategies to overcome barriers and maximize motivators. You can see how we're starting to build this story of who the client is, where they're currently at, and how we can assist them as a coach. And basically through your consultation video assessment, you're going to start to get all this information down on your consultation sheet. Exercise preferences, again, that's going to be very, very dependent on who the client is and their responses. So obviously this particular client prefers to do lots of lower body exercises, but as you can see in the overarching goals here, she wants to actually train a little bit more upper body because her exercise preferences are very specific to more lower body type work. Once you've started to build that bit of data and you've gathered that little bit of analysis, we then need to go into some short, medium and long-term goals. So for the sake of this qualification, your short-term goal is going to be a goal within 4 weeks. Medium term is going to be something they would like to achieve within 8 weeks. And long term will be your phase 3 when we come on to the planning within 12 weeks. And you'll do the same for your nutritional aspect there. So I'll give you an example of a short term. So the way I would do it, just to make it easier for yourself to make sure you've hit all the criteria, and for us as assessors, is to just put a SMART acronym down. Just to make sure you've ticked off every element of the goal. So the S for specific, it could be client is wanting to reduce body weight. So client is wanting to reduce body weight of 54 kilograms to 53.5 kg. Really, really simple. All right, I'm just giving you a quick example, but we have to have some specific numbers in there. If it was client was wanting to improve the strength, you could say the current lift is this amount and they're wanting to get it to this amount. Again, these are just all sort of hypothetical numbers, certain percentage of body weight drop, and you just got to get something specific in there. So how are you going to measure that as a trainer? Can conduct simple scale measurements on a weekly basis. So is that goal achievable? So in there, small weight drop and nothing unfamiliar and unpredictable for clients. Is it realistic? Yes, as they have requested a reduction in body weight, and client's motivation is to decrease overall weight as an example, and the time frame you're looking at within 4 week period or phase 1. So this is again very, very dependent on who your client is and what they're wanting to achieve, but just make sure you've got that SMART acronym down there as an example. So you have your specific, your measurable, achievable, your realistic, and your time bound. You will then do that for a short term. You will put down medium term goal and you will put down a long term goal with that SMART acronym there. Again, making sure it matches what the client's needs and wants are. And then the final section on the consultation is nutritional goals. So what we're having a look at here, on one of our first stages, we had a look at the client completing the food diary. So what I would suggest you do as a coach is, what did you find within that analysis? And how can we start to incorporate some habit changes, behavior changes to assist with some of their nutrition? So as an example, from the nutritional analysis and from the food diary my client has completed for me, I noticed that just a very, very simple one again, very simply, there just wasn't enough water consumption in there. So as a simple one here again, we're going to go for the SMART acronym. And from that analysis, I'm really wanting to just try and improve or increase my client's water intake. So specific, client will consume 500 mils of water with each meal. Really simple. Again, that could be a real challenge for some people. It could sound far too easy for some people. Again, it's just an example of where your client is currently at. How are you going to measure that? Simple food logs and journals to be complete. Photos also welcome. Achievable. So here, client consumes 3 meals per day, totaling water intake of 1.5 litres. Not too unfamiliar for my client. Realistic, yes, as client needs to increase water intake and has reusable 750 ml bottle she can take around with her. Time to be a consistent behavior in 4 weeks time. And again, for your nutritional goals, this would be a goal they look to achieve within 8 weeks, and this would be a goal they would look to achieve within 12 weeks. But this will be very, very much dependent on what came back from your food logs and what analysis you did. So if your client was already drinking plenty of water, that obviously wouldn't need to be a goal for you. And again, it needs to match your client's goals. It may be to drop a little bit more weight. It might be to just improve the mood, general well-being, general feeling. It's got to match your client's goals. Everything you have to do on this course has got to be specific to your client's needs and wants. So what we're expecting you to do is do that short video, 20 to 30 minutes, of you gathering all this information on your client template. Now, you could just jot this down on a plain sheet of paper and then type this up later on, or you could have your laptop with you there and then while you're conducting the video to actually get this information. But what we will expect as tutors is, first of all, a video so we can watch and mark the criteria that you've actually conducted this assessment, and then we will also require you to have put your data onto this case study portfolio and onto your client interview template. So if we just very quickly have a look back at stage 4 here, if you go through that template during the consultation, screen and risk stratify your client using recognized approach, collect data that will help to inform exercise programs and be meaningful to your client, collect and record relevant personal, physical activity, nutritional, lifestyle information from the client. If you go through that interview template, you will tick off all that criteria. And also, if you're conducting it in a safe and secure environment, we will also be looking at ticking off your consultation assessment, because you will have gathered enough data for us to then move on to stage 5, where you actually plan a program for your client. Thank you very much for your time, and I will see you on the next webinar.